Hi everybody, welcome back to another new video. This video is about unknown story of Sydney Opera House. Sydney Opera House, a world famous structure with curvy bird wings, egg-shaped type design located in Australia, is no doubtly known by all. Such a recent structure, which had just completed nearly a half century, has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What an amazing design and achievement it is, and the credit goes to Eero Saarinen, an American architect. You might be thinking of some other name, John Utzon, who was a Danish architect and designer for this beautiful structure. And no doubt, he too has equal credit for this. To know the reason why I took Saarinen name, you will have to go back into the history of the Opera House construction. It was post-World War II. The British had left most of its colony and even Australia was independent, growing rapidly in terms of infrastructural development. The authorities thought a need of a building, a space for public gathering or a community space. Art center to be highlight of the nation, like how France has the Eiffel Tower, Taj Mahal in India. Similarly, they found a need for such a structure. It was then by 1956, Joseph Cahill, a former Minister of Public Work, released an international competition for a national opera house at Benelux Point. The competition guidelines were contained in a 25-page booklet known as the Brown Book and contained black and white photos of a Benelux Point. Competitors were required to register for the competition by paying a fee of 10 Australian pounds. There were a total of about 233 entries, among which 218th or last entry was of John Utzon. He sent his 12 drawings to Sydney just before the competition closed in December. It was a few weeks later when the jury took place. 4 men were selected for the jury panel, and Eero Saarinen, an American architect, was one of them. The meaning of the entry is unknown, but there is a widespread story across which states that Saarinen missed initial few days of the jury, and on the day he came for the panel, he found one design for the pile of rejected sheets and was underwhelmed seeing it in the rejection slot and exclaimed it as the winning entry. The entry was by John Utzon. Regardless of this story accuracy, Saarinen had a key influence in the panel and is the result where we got UNESCO declared World Heritage Site. But the story still doesn't end here. The work of the construction started by the 1959 and estimated valuation was about $7 million, but it reached around $102 million. With all this event happening by this point, the relation with Utzon turned not as good as the tension related to over budget and the revision needed. From few sources, it is known that Utzon also took some other work with this project, and it was about 1966 he left the project by the end of its making. He gave his resignation and jumped from the back wall to avoid the press. It was later continued by the local architect Peter Hall and completed this project by 1967. At the 1973 opening ceremony, Utzon's name wasn't even mentioned. He was banned from the Danish Architect Association. He never returned to Australia. But fortunately, things started to turn around at the end of Utzon's life. And it was only in 1999 that the man and his masterpiece were reunited. He also had to wait until 2003 for a Pritzker Architecture Prize as a token of appreciation for his contribution and design of a much loved building. While awarding the Opera House, Frank Gehry said, John Utzon made a building well ahead of its time, far ahead of available technology, a building that changed the image of an entire country. The Opera House is now Australia's #1 tourist destination, welcoming over 8.2 million visitors per year. It is the only busiest performing arts center presenting more than 2,000 shows over a year, and it is visited by 10.9 million people every year. Such an interesting story of Sydney Opera House. If you want more such videos, stay connected with us for more such content. Do like, share and subscribe. Till then, bye bye. See you in the next video.